Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm doing my VCT Masters Shanghai Power Rankings. I'm going to go through all 12 teams, kind of recap their runs through their regional qualifiers, and rank them into these 5 tiers. Let me know what you guys think of the tier list in the comments below. Also, leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy. I'm going to be doing some other, almost said Madrid, Shanghai content, as in my top 10 players and my pick'ems for the first round. And I might try to get like more videos out for like pick'ems throughout the event because I did not do that for Madrid, and I feel like that could be some good content. But otherwise, yeah, just leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy. I'm going to be doing a lot of content leading up to the regional splits as well. I have a player rankings video coming out for after this event, and then I'll be doing power rankings for each region, as well as what was I? There was another thing, as well as predictions for each split. So again, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like, subscribe if you enjoy, and let's get right into it. So since there's only 3 teams at the bottom of this list in the C and D tier, I'll do both of them at the same time. We're going to start D for DRG. I mean, they are the worst team at this tournament. It's very apparent the first map that you watch of them, they are the worst team here. I think there's an argument that they are the worst team to qualify for one of these events in the franchising era. Maybe you can argue, oh god, what was the team that made Tokyo last year? Let me take a look real quick. The Chinese team that made Tokyo, yeah, ASC. You could argue them, but I don't know. This team just has no idea what they're doing out there. I think they run. Again, let me make sure they're running weird comps as well. What team? No, they're running the normal comps. Yeah, they're running normal stuff. Like, it's not like they're playing weird shit like FPX are. Like, I know FPX do, and everybody knows that. But yeah, DRG just, I don't know. They're not there yet. They don't have the individual talent outside of Ukashu, who is fucking insane. But everybody else on this team is kind of, in my opinion. I don't think there's any incredible talent, and there's people saying that their first round matchup is going to be good against Heretics, and yeah, Miniboo's not going to be playing, but it's going to be fun in the sense that Fukashu's going to be good, and then Heretics is just going to fucking destroy them. I don't care if they bring in me to play for Miniboo. Like, Heretics is still winning that game. That's a little spoiler to my pick'ems, I guess, but I don't think that's a super hot take or anything. Then I have FPX at number 11. I mean, yeah, they did well against EDG in some games. Like, they beat them in the upper final. I think they beat them earlier in the season as well. Yeah, they beat them 2-1 earlier in the season. But overall, when you get to the international events, this team is not better than EDG at those events and at those big games, like the grand finals. I just have a hard time ranking them over EDG because of that, and that's why I have them in C tier. And then I have T1, also in C tier, who I still don't think deserve to be here. I still think it's the RX that should be here. They got a weird upset over Genji, where Genji was playing at their worst and T1 was playing at their absolute best, and then T1 shit the bed the next 2 games, and Genji made the finals. So, in a really close game with DRX as well. So, you have to think, did they just have a good day on the one day that they needed to play well? Probably. So, if they're coming into this event just playing the same way that they were during most of the split, I don't see them picking up any wins, really. Unless they're playing against maybe a DRG or FPX, and I could see it. But other than that, this team's not looking too great. And now, onto the B tier, where I think this will be a hot take. I'm going to have EDG up here. And I understand that they weren't great during their regional split. I mean, it's just how it is. Like, historically, regionally, this team has not been good. Like, leading into Madrid, they were looking really bad, and then they were at least fine for some of the games. Like, they beat Paper X, and I think the other game they played was pretty close at Madrid. Yeah, they played Genji fairly close. They won a map against them, but overall, like, This team is going to be much better than they were regionally at Shanghai, especially with the home crowd advantage. Like, I think that's a big thing for this team specifically, with Kang Kang feeding off that energy. I mean, they could just overheat into oblivion with it, but I think overall they should be fine and be even better. My big concern with this team is the role swaps that they made, where Hao Dong is now playing full time initiator for this team, which I don't think in and of itself is a bad thing. Like, I thought Smoggy Smokes were actually fairly good. He had some really nice moments on those agents. Just some like inexperienced stuff with him. And then Hao Dong playing like the initiator stuff. He a lot of the times ended up on the other side of the map for literally no reason. Like, he was lurking on initiator or on like KO. I specifically noticed it on KO where it happened multiple times. So you'd like to see them fix that. I think they will fix some stuff, but there's a reason that they are at the bottom of this tier and not a little bit higher. Like, I still don't think they'll be great. I still think, I mean, I think they'll probably win a game in playoffs, whether like just some kind of upset. But I don't think they're going to go on any kind of run or anything, personally. Then we have Heretics, who I still have here despite the mini boo news. I did consider dropping them below EDG, but I'm assuming that this is just going to be them picking up Patatek and then putting Woot on Duelist, which is perfectly fine by me. Like, I am very, very ready for that. Like, this team can still be very good, despite not having Miniboo, even though I do think Miniboo is one of the best duelists in the world. I still think you need, like, some kind of synergy, like, with a sub. And I think if it's going to be Patatek, who I think is a really good player, I don't think they're going to have too many issues reintegrating him and just having Woot play the duelist. Now, if they're picking up a new duelist player, I will have some doubts probably. But I don't know who they're picking up as of right now. And if they're picking up a duelist player, I probably won't know who it is. So, I don't know. Then, moving on, we have Foot. This team's a weird team to rank. Because when you look at them, you see this team has the experience. You have Fallen, Ada Captain, CNED. Krax has made a couple international events last year. And then Yedajay is also very good at, despite not having the experience, right? And I mean, this team throughout the regular season in EMEA was probably the best team. Like, week to week, they played the best. I think the only other team you could really argue is Navi. And then other than that, it's Foot, who, I mean, the firepower on this team is unbelievable. CNED was the best duelist in EMEA throughout the whole season, like playoffs and regular season combined. I don't think you can really argue that. Maybe some people would argue that, but like throughout the whole season, his form was very, very good. His raise is getting better. He's played a lot of chamber. Like, his agent pool is expanding a little bit, so this team is getting a little bit better from that. Cracks also kind of expanding his agent pool, maybe a little bit. Not really, actually, now that I'm actually looking at it. He's just playing KO, Raze, Sage, Gecko, which is good for this meta, honestly. So I don't have any issues with that. Ada Captain's very clutch. Mr. Fallen is a very good individualist in IGL and probably one of the better callers at this event. Like, you'd put Boaster over him and you'd put Boostio over him. You'd put Munchkin over him. Whoever the fuck you'd say Paper Rex. And then Valen. So he's top half, I guess. In terms of like proven callers. I don't know. That might be underselling him a little bit. But I still think he's a very, very, very good caller. I mean, again, outcalled everybody except for Boaster and EMEA, in my opinion. Which is a very good sign. But also, like, I don't know, this team just historically has never gotten over that hump, and you really want to see that. Like, I don't even think them being here is as much to do with them as it is to do with literally just other teams being better than them straight up. I think that's really the big thing. And then the last team here in the B tier is we have G2. And this does feel a little bit low. With the form that Valen is in right now, as an individual and a caller at the same time, you have to really rate him. You got fucking Trent, who I think is the best initiator in Americas right now. maybe outside of EU. I think EU might be a little bit over him now that I'm actually thinking about it. Jonah, one of the better flex players. Leaf, one of the better Sentinel players. Like, just an unbelievable core of players that have an extremely high potential. And I think what it really comes down to with this team is how good of a tournament Icy has. They've made international events in the past, everybody except for Leaf and Icy, and they choked. They choked at oh my god, Reykjavik. Valen, Jonah, and Trent did. And I think Leaf historically has been a little bit of a choker in like some of those international event qualification games. And then Icy just isn't proven. So there is some chance, but I think the core three of this team should be fine. I saw people saying that they didn't choke at Reykjavik, which is just an insane statement. Like they did, and that's okay, and they'll be better here. But yeah, I don't know. This feels like underrating them because how good fundamental Valorant they're playing. Like they're the best team in the world at dealing with enemy player or enemy team star players. It's just not close. Um, I think they perfectly play these like up down setups to perfectly punish every team, and everything like that. But I don't know how this is going to translate to an international level. I think they will pick up some wins. I think they probably make playoffs, um, but we'll just have to wait and see with this team, which it feels wrong. Like I feel like they should be higher, but man, is it hard to rate them. Like I think you could argue that these are two separate tiers. Have the Foot and EDG below, or not Foot and EDG, Heretics and EDG below these two, and G2 and Foot, but they're not in this tier and they're not in this tier. So I think I just grouped them all together. I think that's fair, honestly. Now we're moving on to the A tier with the top 5 teams at this event. And I think you could argue the top 5 teams in the world right now. Um, like with Madrid, you were like, there's probably some teams that don't deserve to be here. But I think this event, you have the 12 teams that deserve to be here. Obviously, some regions are better than other regions. So you'd have like the 4th place team from Americas over the 3rd place team from China. But I think you have to start this top 5 out at number 5 with Genji. Now, I know they looked very good towards the end of playoffs against DRX, against T1, against PaperX. They were very, very good down the stretch. But I do think they showed some concerning stuff in the regular season. I don't think they were trying super hard either. So it's trying to balance like what you've seen from this team. And I still think this team is going to be really good. But in this top 5, I am ranking these teams based on how likely they are to win the event. Not necessarily how deep they'll go. Like, I think Genji probably has a higher likelihood than any of these teams to get 3rd, in my opinion. But also, they have the lowest chance to win the finals. Uh, like, Texture, I think, is playing some of the best Valorant that anybody is playing in the world right now. Karon, I think, is going to take a step up, who hasn't been playing as well regionally. I think he'll take another step up to play well internationally. Munchkin's still playing well. Lakia is playing even better. Meteor has been hit or miss in a lot of these games like he has historically. Like, if he has a bad game here or there, that could mean that Genji's out of the tournament or something like that. Um, but there is bust potential with this team. Like, you could say, oh, they just went on a run at Madrid, and now they're going to kind of go back to their regress to the mean, which, yeah, I'm kind of predicting that a little bit here. But also, I'm kind of hedging my bets with, yeah, this team could absolutely win the tournament. I just think they are the least likely out of these 5 teams. Then at number 4, I have Leviathan, who, I mean, they have Aspas. Like, I don't, I don't see how anybody ranks this team super low coming into the split, or not the split, dude, into the event. They have Aspas, they have King, they have Calm, they have Tex playing really well. Mazzino's been kind of hit or miss. Like, he's the guy that, like, if he pops off, they win. Um, but like, I don't think they were super great towards the end of playoffs, or even just in playoffs at all. Like they lost to 100 Thieves, they barely got past Crew, they lost to G2. Now, against G2, the reason this is the reason that I have Lev above G2 is because in this lower final series against G2, G2 won 9 out of 10 of the pistols, which is just not replicable. Now, Lev won a couple eco rounds, like on round twos, like on Breeze, they did one. On they did it on another map as well, I think. Yeah, on Ascent they did. So you could argue G2 is the better team, and I'm not gonna like slam anybody for that take, but I just think when it comes down to the international events, you take the top tier talent on these teams over some like G2, which is more of a collection of very good talent. When you have King and Osbos and Calm on a team, it's really hard to bet against this team. Now, this is Texas' first international event, I believe. So you could argue that there's some potential for choking there, but he also did fine at Ascension, so I'm not super worried about him. But overall, I do think out of the top five here, this is the team that is most likely to suck at this event. Maybe not suck, but you know what I mean, like to finish actually like down here in terms of standings. Because I think Genji has a higher floor. They have the lowest floor, is my point. So moving on to Fnatic now at number 3. Yeah, this is high for how they played in terms of their whole split. I agree. But when you consider the context of, yeah, they took the offseason this year pretty much completely off outside of Red Bull, um, then they come into kickoff, kind of get humbled a little bit, then are sick going into week 1, and kind of are slowly improving every single week. And then you get to playoffs where they improve every single game. And I think with this time off in between games, Fnatic can really improve as well. They even have the buy into playoffs too, so like they can improve over that as well. And then if they start winning games and picking up momentum, they can continue to win more games. I just I really believe in this team. I considered putting them in the S tier, but I just didn't quite do that. I mean, Boaster, I think, is one of the best callers in the world. Leo is in tip-top form again. Durka's playing very well. Chronicle's actually shooting back now, which is very good. And Alpha is just being Alpha. Um, Specifically when he's playing the Rays, to be fair, like on Split. The other maps, I don't think were as great from him. I still think they were very, very good, and it's not going to be an issue at all. But I don't think he's in that like elite form like he is on Split on the Rays. So there is a like I still have my doubts about this team. They were fairly mid the whole regular season, but once they got to playoffs, they really turned up. This team has the experience. They have the international wins under their belt. I really think this team could go very deep. I just I mean, there's just something about this team that makes you think, oh well, they got like again, they have the experience, they can go really deep. And then there's also just the doubt of what we've seen pretty much all year except for playoffs. And you might think, oh, maybe that was a form run. I really don't think it was. I think they were just slowly improving every game. So think what you want about Fnatic, but I think this is a very, very fair placement for them. Then into the S tier here, we have our top 2 teams, 100 Thieves and Paper Rex. Now, a lot of people are going to take Paper Rex because they are the more experienced team at the international level. They've had a lot of very good placements. But also, 100 Thieves. Similar stuff to Fnatic, except they showed more during the regular season, and they were actually good during the regular season. I think the form that these individual players are in, I think Cryo is playing arguably better Valorant than anybody else in the world right now. Same with EU in terms of just that initiator role specifically. I think Asuna is one of the best entry players in the world. He'll just fling himself in there just to have everybody else trade him out, and that'll win them rounds. Bang is in insane form. I do have concerns about him specifically, in terms of like the big pressure games here. But when they made champs, he was very good there. And then they have Boostio, who I said at the beginning of this year, Bustio is the perfect signing for this team. He is the exact role that they needed to fill. He is an IGL, a world champion IGL, and the vibes guy. He has so much energy that he injects into this team that, like, I mean, I'm going to switch this now because I do have 100 Thieves number one. I'll argue for 100 Thieves first, and then I'll talk a little bit about Paper X because I don't think this has to do with Paper X, like, like me being down on Paper X. It is just being up on 100 Thieves, and I understand that I'm a 100 Thieves fan, but historically, I don't let biases get in the way. I put them where I think they are, and I will be the first person to call the team that I root for shit, okay? If you've seen how I talk about the Packers, you'll know that. But I don't know. I got a feeling with this team. I mean, I tweeted it out during I think it was the upper final G2 series that if Asuna and Bang are hitting, this team is genuinely unbeatable. Because EU is so consistently good. Cryo, same thing. Bustio obviously individually hasn't been elite, but he's had games where he's played really well. He's had maps where he's played really well. I don't know. I just think this team is the best in the world right now. And it's going to take somebody else to prove that they are not the best team in the world to actually knock them off of that. Then we have Paper X at number two, which, yeah, they brought back Jing, and they look just straight back to that form where they were with Jing. Like, obviously not immediately, he wasn't like elite, but once they started playing more games, they started getting more like warmed up to him. They just started rolling teams. Like, they 13-0'd Talon on Lotus, and somehow lost Bind after that, which is kind of crazy. They 3-2'd Genji in the finals. Again, I don't have concerns about this team, really. Like, other than them historically making the finals and then losing. I think, honestly, same thing that I said here with Genji is I think this team is the most likely team to make the finals. I don't think they're the most likely team to win. I would favor Fnatic, 100 Thieves, Leviathan, and probably Genji against them in a final, personally, just because of how they played in those games in the past. But I don't know. They're still one of the best teams in the world. They always will be. Every single time I'm going to do a power ranking from now on, as long as they don't make roster changes, obviously, or fall off completely. Paper X will be in this top tier. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm going to pick them in almost every game, I mean, unless they're playing somebody that's in these tiers, maybe. Like, I don't know, man. This team's really, really good and really scary, and I'd be scared to play them as a 100 Thieves fan. I think in an individual, like, maybe like an upper finals game or a like middle of the tournament game, I might pick Paper X over 100 Thieves. That's why they're in the same tiers together. But overall, I do slightly favor 100 Thieves for the whole tournament wide, like landscape and everything like that. I don't know what the fuck I just said, but you get the point. And yeah, so this is my power rankings. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. There is some spicy takes in here. I think some people might not like this, but it's what I think. So again, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.